This video is brought to you by my patrons, my thoughts and opinions, my feminine energy, and Captain America. Hello, and welcome to, or back to, my channel. I'm Kit, and on March 18th, 2025, self-proclaimed freethinker Amala Ekpunobi published the video, "He's Right, American Masculinity is Dying," with the thumbnail, "Masculinity is Dead." The he in question is Captain America himself, Anthony Mackie, who made some statements that went viral, and I do agree with Amala that things that don't need to go viral do, but we're here and I have some thoughts. So what did Anthony Mackie say that garnered so much controversy?
I keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit. I'm like your kids. And no, I don't give a I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid. Mm-hmm. Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tells the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out. Mm-hmm. So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities, for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night, this alarm is on, you text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. Right. You can have all the celebrity in the world, jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing. Yeah. So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
Theoretically, I see nothing wrong with what he said. No, you don't have to buy your kids whatever they want because you have money. Yes, you should raise your kids to be responsible and respectful. The weird thing to me is that he singles us out as masculinity, and then he takes it a step further and says that in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. What does that even mean? And who was the they that killed masculinity? I also think this might be a bit misleading. He makes it sound as though, you know, the teenager is the man of the house when his dad's not there, so he's protecting his mother, but, well, I'm no expert on Anthony Mackie, but per a People interview, he's no longer with the mother of his 4 sons, and he's not currently dating, so the 15-year-old is in charge of making sure his younger siblings are safe. Which I still think is a bit much to put on a teenager, but very different from if he was instructing the teenager to keep his mother safe. I also think the focus on holding doors for ladies is a bit misguided. Why not hold doors for everyone? But anyway, enough of my wicked feminist thoughts. Let's get to what Amala thinks of this.
But what was interesting about the examples that he gave is I feel like he was scaling the responsibility of these children to their age. He said, you know, for my 15-year-old boy, when I'm not at home, he's going to be the protector of the house. Now, that doesn't mean he's a jujitsu fighter who's going to attack any assailant who walks in the home. He says, I tell him to lock the doors, to text me, you know, when he goes to sleep, when he wakes up, and to just make sure that everything is secure while he's at the house and while he's with his mother. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Every 15-year-old should be capable of that. And that 15-year-old who has learned from his father is now taking those skills and utilizing them in teaching his younger siblings. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I agree. And that's where the agreement ends.
Whether we like it or not, there is a difference in how we raise girls and how we raise boys. We have different bodies. We have different hormones. We have different cycles that we're going through on any given day. And you have to tailor how you deal with these 2 children to their sex.
That is just so weird to me on multiple levels. For one, what cycle is a 6-year-old going through? And why would you tailor how you raise a kid on their sex, not on, you know, them? You can't raise all girls the same and everything will turn out fine, and you can't raise all boys the same and everything will turn out fine. And then there are some things that we've needlessly gendered. There is nothing wrong with For example, a boy playing house or a girl playing with trucks. There is no reason a boy should learn how to change a tire and not learn how to cook, and there is no reason a girl should learn how to cook but not how to change a tire. Sure, there can be differences in strength and interest and so on, but that will come about from the kid themselves. Not every boy is strong, not every girl is interested in ballet, and so on. And I don't know, obviously, but isn't that part of the fun of parenting? Finding out who your kid is? Anyway, Amala at least allows that there are certain things you want to teach all kids, but of course,
there's going to be different things for boys and girls, and I don't know why that can't just be said.
Obviously, it can be said because she just did, and guess what? Her channel is still there. But my question is why? Why would you just assume a boy is XYZ and a girl is ABC?
I just hate that we fail to acknowledge that men and women have different energies and boys and girls have different energies, and they're going to take the things differently. And that's why it's important to have the feminine characteristics of a mother to influence children and the masculine characteristics of a father to influence children. And that doesn't mean that women can't have masculine traits and that men can't have feminine ones. It just means that typically we are tailored to certain frequencies and energies that should be fostered by our parents and by men and women.
Friendly reminder that studies show kids fare just as well with two mothers or two fathers as with a mother and a father. But anyway, since we're getting into energies now, everyone has their own energy. Maybe Amala doesn't know this, but humans are more than just their sex. And the need to pigeonhole things into masculine and feminine baffles me. Maybe we should just have good traits instead of these are masculine traits which are good for men and bad for women, and these are feminine traits which are good for women but bad for men. That's how we end up in conversations of how men are being too emotional and women are being too assertive, which doesn't help anyone. But silly me, that is actually the point.
We should investigate what he means by the death of American masculinity, because the response to this, I think, exemplifies what he means by that. This idea that there is nothing that is uniquely masculine, that there is no masculine energy in men that needs to be fostered. And on a more extreme end of that, that there is a toxicity to masculinity that must be drawn out of men, that we must make them sort of docile and feminine in order for them to mold with our society and to coexist with women.
Tradcons might pay lip service to, of course a woman can have masculine traits and that's fine, and men can have feminine traits and that's fine, but at the end of the day, they really like the idea of gender roles and certain traits being for women and certain traits being for men. But all those traits that are good for men and all those traits that are good for women, they're good for everyone. And I'm again wondering why we're gendering personality traits.
It seems like the death of American masculinity is a very real thing, and I can't give an exact number of years that it's been going on, but let's run with his statement of 20 years. And if you look at the relationship between the two sexes right now, it doesn't seem like we're doing really good. Loneliness is up, birth rates are low, and just the general cultural conversations we're having surrounding sex and gender differences seem very heated and full of vitriol. There's a lot of hatred being thrown back and forth. There's misogyny and misandry and statements about all men or all women. And I think it would behoove us to maybe just think about our sex differences, lean into them in healthy ways that make us distinct from one another, but also foster good relationships and allow men to be men and women to be women, because we seem to have lost the plot on those ideas.
I swear I'm not trying to be obtuse, but is it just me or is that very vague? We need to lean into our sex differences. And what? The loneliness epidemic will be solved and the birth rate will increase? Does she really think it's that simple? Is this another throwback to, if we can just return to the 1950s, we'll be prosperous and happy again? I have to admit, I was hoping for more from Amala. So, final thoughts. I wanted to comment on this video because, well, obviously I'm not into the whole men need to be men and women need to be women thing, and I also think younger creators like Amala and Brett bring a more youthful look to conservative ideas, and they might say things that indicate they're more accepting of people who don't agree with them, or they'll allow a little more leeway than what is traditionally considered acceptable within conservative circles. But honestly, I don't know what these creators personally think, but I think their content is meant to serve as a lure for younger people. Because, let's be honest, Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager aren't really speaking to teens or 20-somethings these days. And this is all so unnecessary. You don't need to cultivate masculine energy as a man. You need to be a responsible and respectful person, as do women. And I do not understand the fear that accompanies the idea that, yes, men and women are more similar than they are different. I'm not saying that Lorelai is the same as Dean, and honestly, if you think that's what I'm saying, you're here in bad faith. And I'm not saying you can't enjoy traditionally male hobbies as a man or traditionally female hobbies as a woman, but the idea that we need to cultivate a certain behavior based on our sex is just ridiculous, and it has to go. And it's really disappointing to see someone so young trying to perpetuate that mindset. It doesn't help people to be told they're a man, so they must be one way, or they're a woman, so they must be the other way. It actually harms people to be held to arbitrary standards because of their sex. And I'm serious. This isn't just some silly culture war talking point. Gender stereotypes can lead to self-harm, violence, and more. So please, just let people be people. Such a simple request, but you would think I'm asking for the moon. So that kind of got a little away from me, but that's it for this video. Please feel free to share your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next one.